Okay, what's going on, everybody? This is Mangg coming to you live on Easter Sunday. For those that celebrate that holiday. Welcome back to Hanging with Mangg. Episode 341. I erroneously marked last week's episode as 240 instead of 340. What a blunder that was. I got so many messages about that saying, Mangg, you dunderhead, what were you thinking? Actually, in fact, no one noticed and no one said anything because maybe they were too polite or maybe no one really cares, which is probably much more likely. We are playing some Monster Hunter Rise here. I don't usually repeat from week to week like that. I like to switch it up, but let's be real, all I'm really playing nowadays is mostly Monster Hunter, even though I'm actually not that far. I've been kind of busy. I've been busy with the house stuff, of course, for those interested in an update on that whole ordeal. It's not quite done yet. It's not quite finished yet. Yes, I have an accepted offer to purchase a home, but, you know, the accepted offer is not the end of negotiations. That's not just, all right, let's sign and be done. All right, you know, there's contingencies. I mean, my contingencies, of course. This is for my benefit. Obviously, the seller would just be like, all right, sounds good, let's go, you know, just sign away. But, you know, we got the house inspected, so it's all been inspected. The inspection went mostly well, actually. We had, the inspector we got, really good guy. He even brought us homemade cookies to finish off the inspection. He was good. Yeah, so the interior of the home is pretty darn good. Some very minor stuff that's mainly just like cosmetic or just like replacing some like filters or things like that. Just doing like a bit of cleaning, mainly. There is some small issue with the furnace, but the seller has already said that he's going to get that sorted out, so that's fine. The real main issue, and now the big hiccup, the big thing, the big issue is the siding on the home. The siding on the home is basically in need of replacement or repair, but really replacement. The material is called cement board, and I'm not in the home industry. I'm not in the construction industry. This is all just news to me. But it's like, cement board is like cement that has been like mixed with fibers of some kind. I don't know. I mean, it looked all right, obviously, when I first checked it out, although I don't have a keen eye for things. But I guess the cement board that this company used is shit, and there was like a whole recall of it. And, so it's just not, it didn't hold up. It did not hold up. There was a whole class action lawsuit and everything. And ideally, we would replace it with like a different material entirely, I guess. I mean, this is all just what I'm hearing. This is what I'm being told by people that know things. Ideally, we would replace it with like a similar material that has actually been proven to hold up for decades. But the problem is that the HOA, because of course, you know, moving into a neighborhood with an HOA, the HOA doesn't want you to use anything other than the cement board. So we have to, oh Jesus, we have to, if we're gonna replace it as it stands, we have to replace it with basically the similar material. I assume stuff that hasn't been recalled exactly, but like another company's version of it. So I think it should be better, but it's still not ideal. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, whatever. We have to replace it. We have to replace it. The thing is, the holdup is that the seller does not think or was not aware that it was in need of replacing. Because he actually had a home inspection like last year when he refinanced his house, and no one told him anything wrong about the siding. And now we come in and we're like, look, I mean, it's all gotta be replaced. So he, I mean, like I said, he's a good guy, or he seems to be a good guy. So he's not just like, hey, fuck that and fuck you, replace it yourself, you piece of shit. I mean, he's not saying that. He said he's going to call up a siding contractor to come look at it and give like a professional estimate or evaluation. Battery, oh, yeah. So that's fine. I mean, that seems reasonable, because if I don't expect him to actually replace it before we close, because it's just like getting a contractor out there now in a short term, you know, on a short term notice to replace all this siding, it's just not going to be feasible. So I know I'm going to have to do it. We're just hoping to get a proper price reduction on the house. I would even, you know, I'd be fine with splitting the difference. I mean, that's not ideal, but I'd be fine splitting the difference. Because this guy, I mean, we can all see, we can all tell, this guy is not making, he's not making a bank. You know, he's not making bank on selling this house. I'm already buying it for under his asking price. And that was under his asking price after a price reduction. So he's really not getting what he wanted out of this, but there just aren't any buyers for this home with an unfinished basement. So, I mean, I'm gonna have to put a bunch of money into this place. He's not making much money on the place, so it's already kind of a thin deal. So I understand, you know, he's not gonna reduce the house price by the full price of the siding contract. I don't really expect that. Splitting the difference would be good. Honestly, at this point, I'd probably just take the house at our agreed upon price, but we'll see what happens. I don't think he's trying to screw me. I'm not really trying to screw him. None of us want to get screwed. So I think it's pretty much, I'm not worried about, like, I'm not going to get the house. Like, I think this is going to work out. This isn't a make or break thing, so it's just a matter of time and a little bit more negotiating. And I'm getting excited. I mean, a lot of, fuck me. A lot of fuck me. A lot of ideas, a lot of talk, a lot of discussion about, room ideas, you know, what we're gonna put where, and how we're gonna arrange the house. And my family's got plenty of ideas, even though it's my house. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited. I know when I moved into this place, my current little condo, I did a video, like a little house tour. I might do that for the new house. My concern is it's a little opulent, I guess. I don't want people thinking less of me, because it's like, oh, look at Look at Mangg and his big shot house. What an asshole. I don't know if that would actually happen, but it's a concern. At the end of the day, I don't benefit whatsoever from doing a house tour video. It's more just like viewers benefit. So I don't know. Anyways. Yeah, so I've been tired, of course, still. I'm starting to recover. A big part of that was that this whole weekend I should have been working on the next Final Fantasy video, putting the script together and all that. And like Friday, after finally finishing the SCP video at like 10 o'clock, actually it might have been after that, it might have been later than that, 11 o'clock, I was just like, fuck it. I don't wanna work on this Final Fantasy thing. Even though I like Final Fantasy 14 and all that, it's still work, and I just didn't feel like it. And then Friday came into Saturday, and then today was Easter, and I was just like, no one is clamoring for this video. That was my rationale. No one was clamoring for these Final Fantasy videos, so I can take a week off for my own sanity. So that helped, actually. That definitely helped. It's not like we won't get the next Final Fantasy video done, but all in due time. I should film a house tour of an abandoned shack and say it's my new place. Yeah, I could do that. Just look at one corner of the shack and be like, yeah, this is where the pool's going, and this is the crokinole room over here. Yeah. I don't know. It's not like, I mean, YouTube has been great, you know, and I've definitely made a career out of it, so I don't want to be like ashamed that, oh yeah, I'm doing all right for myself. But you know, it's always a little, I mean, plenty of YouTubers I'm sure do house tours, and people definitely think less of them because of it, so it just is what it is. Anyways, so this is where the kid stands facing the corner while I murder the others. Okay, yeah. I think that would be better for like the exploring series, like April Fool's kind of thing. The exploring series house tour, and then it's just this shack in the middle of nowhere. That seems like even more work for me than just doing a normal April Fool's video, so I don't know. I'd have to find an abandoned shack. That seems a little... That seems like the start of a horror film in itself, so I don't know about that. But anyways, I released a video this week on the Exploring series about Prometheus Labs, which was just, you know, little group of interest, little compilation of SCPs. And then this week I worked on Parawatch, which is another little group of interest, and basically just another little compilation of SCPs. So that's... And before that was Oniroi, which was another little group of interest with a compilation of SCPs. So 3 compilations in a row has been a little rough. Unfortunately, next week I'll be working on musical SCPs, which is easier than doing a group of interest. Still not as easy as a single SCP, but yeah, I'm running I'm running lighter. I'm running lighter on long, epic, single SCPs to cover. I mean, I've basically done everything that interests me of DJ Cactus's work. So hopefully he can start cranking some stuff out. An actual house tour would be cool, though. Yeah, like I said, it doesn't benefit me whatsoever to actually put that out, but I'm sure people would be interested. So I'll probably end up making one, just because that's what I tend to do. Yeah, so that's that. So the Final Fantasy, the big finale to A Realm Reborn will not be released this week. It'll be released next week. Can Studs have a house tour? Studs, you might get a house tour. I can't guarantee it. There might be rooms that I do not allow you access to when you enter my home. You know, it's all up in the air at this point. I can't promise anything. Yeah, so the realm, the big finale to A Realm Reborn is gonna be lengthy. I'm gonna cut down on a lot of the stuff leading up to, like, the big finale and the Praetorium and things. The rest of that will be pretty light. But, yeah, I have not even started writing the script. Give you a crokinole room and you're all set. Yeah, there will be a crokinole room. There's no doubt about that. It's a nice crokinole room, too. There's a fireplace there, and it's, like, got windows on two sides. Like, right now, the cellar has, like, just, like, a parlor room there with a piano. But, fuck the piano. We need crokinole. Yeah. So on this channel, we, of course, have had Monster Hunter Rise going on. We had some Divinity, and I've uploaded every video I've recorded of Divinity up to this point, and I was going to sit down and record some more of it, and then I took a sharp turn. Lucky Life Found. That's a new one. Wait a minute. Fortune Owl. Paint a Fortune Owl feather. Maybe he'll strike it rich. You don't know what that means. Right, so I was going to do a Divinity, and then I took a sharp turn, and I recorded Kingdom Death Monster on TTS. That really came out of nowhere. I mean, let me tell you. It's no inclination of doing that before, like, Friday. Something about the last SCP for Onoroi made it the most unsettling thing I've ever talked about. Yeah. It was kind of an odd inclusion because obviously it had nothing to do with Onoroi. Like, practically nothing. But, you know, when I do these compilation things, I just look for tags. And it was tagged as Onoroi because they are mentioned. And so I figured it counts. I mean, it's tagged, and I need a big finale for this video that's crazy. So, yeah, that fit the bill. It kind of worked out, though, because it's like, I don't know if I really can explain what's happening here. So I'm just going to go ahead with, I don't need to explain anything that's happening here. And I think going forward, we're going to get into a lot more sort of wilder SCPs. Because that's, like, what I haven't covered yet. And I don't just mean, like, weird and fucking crazy. I also mean just, like, heavy sci-fi stuff. You know, there's some canons where they go into space and there's a lot of space travel and all sorts of stuff like that. I'm gonna be doing a reading soon that's just like pure fantasy stuff and really has nothing to do with SCP. We're gonna get a little bit more out there as I stretch thinner on things to cover instead of just all DJ Cactus's stuff. I mean, DJ Cactus does not get that crazy usually. Anyways, Kingdom Death speaking of fucking crazy, Kingdom Death Monster. If you have not watched that first video I uploaded, I really recommend it. And I recommend following that series. It really is unlike any other board game you've probably ever seen. It is insane. And I recorded 5 parts. So it was a 5-part series, and then I basically ended it off. And that, like, the next day I was like, no, I need to record more. And so I recorded another 2. So if you follow the series, you'll think that it's over after 5 parts, but don't listen to me. It goes on for another couple. And then I forced myself to end because I actually ordered the board game itself. And I don't want to spoiler it by playing solo. So it's just insane. It really is. It's basically like Dark Souls meets Monster Hunter meets Civilization in a box. It's just fucking like gruesome and horrific and phenomenal. And really, the only reason it's not going to be a 20-part Let's Play, of solo Let's Play, is because I don't want to spoil it. It came out of nowhere that I did it, but I actually really had a good time. Just, I don't know, playing a solo board game and doing like a Let's Play of it. Because I did the thing on the variety stream this week of Arkham Horror on a whim. And it's odd because I'm not normally into solo board gaming. I mean, I've tried it on my own with like the Arkham Horror, the card game, but I don't know. But for whatever reason, just doing commentary, it almost feels like I'm playing with other people. Not really. I mean, it's not a replacement for playing with other people, but there is a difference from just playing a solo board game, sitting in silence, to doing it with commentary, talking through everything that I'm doing and reacting to things and stuff. It just feels better. So yeah, I really enjoyed the little Kingdom Death Monster playthrough. I'm gonna upload all that. I mean, there's some really like exciting, intense moments in there. As exciting as you'd find in any video game, or more so. So now I'm recording another solo board game playthrough of Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth. And I don't know how long I'll do that one for. I'm not as worried about spoiling it. But there's far less content than Kingdom Death Monster, so I just don't know how much I'll play of it. But that's going well and fun. And I think for the next variety stream this week, I'm probably going to do a solo playthrough of Nemesis, which is really a unique little board game that's basically like playing out the movie Alien. And I think it's intended for multiple people as sort of a semi-co-op where people can be like infected and, you know, try and hide it, and they each have different objectives, and there could be a traitor and blah blah blah. But I have played it multiple times solo by my, you know, just in the past, and it was really fun, so I think we'll do that. What am I playing? This is Monster Hunter Rise on the Switch, part of the long-running Monster Hunter franchise. War Greymon. Someone pointed that out on the subreddit, and it's like, yeah, that's War Greymon. I mean, except for the cat ears on top. Those claws, though, are... yeah. Right. So, yeah, I guess I'm just kind of on a bit of a board gaming kick right now. And actually... you know, there's been some issues with my family D&D night where I don't want to DM. My mom is okay with DMing, but she's getting overwhelmed, and I don't really enjoy playing with her DMing because she's a big pushover. And there's no challenge whatsoever. I gave her Maze Rats. She's read Maze Rats. She's willing to give that a try. But we thought, what if we sort of switch off back and forth between her DMing something and us just playing like a dungeon crawl board game like Descent. To sort of keep that kind of D&D feel, but with way less prep work or pressure involved or anything like that. And she really liked that idea, so yeah, we might do that. But I'm just really hyped to get a hold of Kingdom Death Monster and start that, because that is just, it's just crazy good, crazy expensive. It's basically an entire hobby by itself, but yeah, very fun. All right, let's see. So yeah, that's basically what's going on with this channel. Pretty much just some board game content, which is kind of fresh. We don't see that too often on this channel. Monster Hunter Rise, of course, will be continuing. We should be doing Roll Mangin again tomorrow. And the variety stream on Wednesday. Two Brothers Play Monster Hunter Rise. So yeah, basically board games and Monster Hunter. That is the schedule. Let's see. Yeah, so speaking of board games, we didn't do an RPG last Monday. Studs couldn't make it, so instead we busted out a board game. One that we've never played before. That was Keyflower. I should probably heal. So Keyflower is a euro, I guess. Your goal is to get the most victory points. And you are building a little settlement, basically by purchasing tiles and building up a little hex tile village. That it's sort of a worker placement game. So you're buying tiles that give you actions, and then you're putting workers down to do those actions, and so on and so forth. The interesting thing, though, is you can put your workers in other people's village, other people's hex tile village, and then they get the workers. And you spend your workers not only to do actions, but also to bid on tiles that give you actions. So that's sort of the balance, is like, how many workers do I spend doing actions and how many workers do I spend bidding on tiles, all with the goal of victory points in mind. The other interesting thing is a lot of the tiles are based around generating resources, such as wood and stone and blah blah blah. But oftentimes those resources will be generated on a specific tile, like physically. They don't go like on your player board or behind your screen or anything. They go on your village in a specific spot. And a big part of the game is upgrading your tiles by spending resources. But those resources need to be on the tile that you want to upgrade. So you actually spend a lot of time moving resources around your village. And you have to spend actions in order to move things through your village. And this is really interesting to me because way back when I was interested in designing my own board game based on the Backs of Gods, my fantasy setting, I had that same concept in mind of you would create resources, you would harvest resources on a certain location, but then you would have to physically move it across the map, across the board, to another location where you would properly utilize them. And so that was a big thing, is this sort of transportation thing. It's not, like, I didn't invent that, obviously, it's not new, but that was a key component of what I had in mind. So it was cool to finally play a game that had that. Everyone enjoyed it. It was a really fun time. I did not win, but yeah, it was a fun game, and it's pretty highly rated. It's been sitting on my shelf for like 6 years, back when I bought all these board games. And yeah, I'm sure we'll play it again at some point. If I find any free time, I should check out Invincible on Amazon Prime. It sounds like a sports movie starring Matt Damon. Am I off basis on that? Is that the movie with Nelson Mandela? That's a very generic title, so I don't know what it's about. Yeah, so that's what we did. But tomorrow we're gonna be back to Numenera, and we'll be back to shaping liquid into ropes and knives and all sorts of deadly objects that I can think of. It's an animated series based on a comic book. Okay. Is that a Garth Ennis thing? I may have seen something about that somewhere. Yeah, I watch so little television, it's like embarrassing. Lately I've just been watching old episodes of Shut Up and Sit Down, the board game review show. Which is probably why I'm on this little board game kick. I mean, those guys, they made you like board games. I don't watch new Shut Up and Sit Down because it's just, I only really like Paul, and Quinn's is okay, but Quinn's is only really okay when he's with Paul. So the show kind of fell apart for me. But I like to rewatch the old episodes, especially the really early ones where they covered, like, you know, 4 or 5 different games in one episode. Robert Kirkman. Yeah, you're right. I think I just saw that. I opened up, like, Comixology and I saw that. I mentioned in my Ads-a-Thoth video that you support the theory that all existence is in his dreams, and it has a lot to do with my thoughts on Nyarlathotep. Haven't been able to find out what I meant by that. I don't really follow up on it and mention in my Nyarlathotep video, as far as you can tell. Oh boy. Let me think. Support. I do think that all existence is in Azathoth's dreams. Well, I view Nyarlathotep as, I mean, his title is like the messenger of the outer gods. He is the one that apparently communicates with Azathoth in some capacity. And so I think it's sort of, I mean, it's like this is all just like my headcanon is basically what we're at. Nyarlathotep likes our existence. He likes it the way it is. And so it's basically up to him. He's the one that's, there are the flutists or whatever, the pipers that are keeping Azathoth asleep. By just playing, you know, the insane music forever. But if Nyarlathotep is somehow communicating with Azathoth, it also falls on his shoulders to keep him dreaming, and thus keeping the existence going. Because existence is basically Nyarlathotep's playground. So, I mean, yeah, that's just headcanon. You're really getting pretty far from whatever. Trying to rationalize and trying to put human personalities and emotions and thoughts onto these entities is completely against the point. It's just that Nyarlathotep tends to be the most humanized of all the ancient ones, all the outer gods and all that, because he is the one that directly interacts with humans. I mean, even Lovecraft, you know, the short story Nyarlathotep, he was on Earth interacting with humans. Not in a very pleasant way, mind you, but he could appear in human form. Like, no one else can do that. He clearly has a penchant for humanity in some respect. So if anyone could have some sort of human traits or something that we could understand, I think it's possibly easier to understand Nyarlathotep compared to, say, Hastur, you know. And again, I think if I redid my Nyarlathotep video, it would be far less opinion-based and just way more of my typical exploring stuff. Yeah. So, like I said, you're getting pretty far from whatever Lovecraft intended when you're talking about Nyarlathotep and interacting with Azathoth and all that sort of stuff. So I think if I ever do redo those videos, I'll probably take all that out. But because I generally never like to express an opinion. But I do like the concept that Azathoth is dreaming up our existence, and if he were to ever wake up, that's just the end. Because there is a scientific theory, I don't remember what it's called. It's not that we're all in a dream, although I think that's another... what is it called? Maybe I'm thinking of gamma ray bursts, but I'm not sure. I read it, it's something, you know, it's like when I was reading about like terrifying, you know, scientific theories or something like that. It's the idea that a bubble, our entire existence is in like this bubble that could just suddenly burst on a moment's notice, and we would all just die. All existence would just die in our universe or in our galaxy, just at the snap of a finger, and we would never see it coming, and it would just be over. And it's like, yeah, I mean, that's basically Azathoth waking up. I mean, that's the same thing. So fun stuff to think about. But at that point, it's like, can you ever really worry about that? I mean, come on. How can I worry about that? What can I do? They're like, oh, we gotta do something about this. We gotta prepare. We gotta put up big bubbles around us to prevent this. I don't know. I don't sweat that stuff, but it's just sort of interesting. Let's see. I talked about board games. There's no RPG stuff to talk about. We didn't do a session yesterday. We didn't do one on Monday. I think that's sort of it then. Yeah. I mean, hopefully next Hanging with Mangg, I come back and I've got good news and the whole deal with the house is just settled. And we're just waiting on a closing date. That'd be like what I'd like to say next week. So fingers crossed on that. It is a bummer because apparently it's going to be a pretty hot summer. And the place I'm buying does not have a pool of any kind. And I'm not going to be able to put one in until next year. So that would have been cool to just do. I've never owned a pool, ever. My parents, they never owned one. They had no interest in owning a pool. And I never really went to anyone else's house that had a pool. So when I finally get one, it's going to be sweet. But not this year. Despite it being terrifying, I love that type of existential horror. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what cosmic horror is all about, is that in general, in the wide scope of things, humanity is utterly insignificant, despite how significant we think we are. Great. The risk of a gamma ray burst killing us is minuscule, but is very real and possible, just like black holes. It would be devastating if we came too close to one. You don't need to worry. Yeah, I'm not worried. Well, I'm not worried about that. So, it's just life goes on, and then maybe someday it won't. And that's how it is. So, yeah. Alrighty, so, yeah. Check out the Parawatch video tomorrow, all about, this little group of conspiracy theorists that exists in the SCP universe. Parawatch is like the FBI's UIU, if they didn't have any government funding. So, it's even more laughable of a group than the UIU. But they try. They try. And that's it for the Exploring series this week. We've got more Monster Hunter Rise coming this week, along with plenty of board game content on Tabletop Simulator, which probably sounds a lot lamer than it will actually be. It's cool stuff. Trust me, it's cool stuff. I'm not just playing like Settlers of Catan by myself. You know, these are cooler games than that. But alright. Yeah, so thank you all for joining me on this lovely Sunday. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your days, the rest of your weeks, all that good stuff. My name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg. I'll see you fine folks next week.